Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is the Vault episode 694. Who owns your trust? Definitely appreciate this. Everyone listening live, listening to replay. A lot of people ask how to start a trust, and a lot of people ask a lot of different questions about trust, but one of the things that we see is the difference between public and private. So we thank everybody for tuning in live, listen, and replay. This is the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Definitely feel free to reach out for a consultation at christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, it's christian@trustchristian.com. So we're just gonna hop straight into this episode. Who owns your trust? And so this is going to be a very enlightening, episode for so many people that say, "Oh, I want to be in trust. I want to be in trust." Well, if you own a trust, it's a public trust. For all the people that say, "Oh, I'm not my birth certificate. I'm a human flesh being." And you're a manager of an asset. You're a manager of a trust, right? Manager, not owner. Y'all know how it looks at work. The manager is not the owner. The owner is not a manager. The owner hires managers. But if you're the trustee, you're not the owner. You're the manager. So how is it that so many people say, "Oh, well, I have a trust, I own a trust"? Yeah, that's because you have a state created trust. Your trust was created under the state of. The state of X, Y, and Z trust. When you go into the bank, they ask you, what state was the trust created in? Because they assuming that you have a public trust. But somehow, private trust operate in the public too. But so many people, they say, "Oh man, I own a trust. I have a trust." Well, if you own a trust or have a trust, it's a living trust. It's a public trust. You're living, right? Right. It's a living trust. You own it. Is it revocable or irrevocable? If it's not irrevocable, and then think about this, we know lawyers that have literally lied to people. Like, it's like, how do they get away with this stuff? These people literally have said, "Oh, well, you could get into trust, but you could be the grantor and a trustee of an irrevocable trust." Like, what are you talking about? It's irrevocable. How is that the case? And because the person doesn't know, the individual doesn't know that if it's irrevocable, you can't be the trustee and the grantor. Y'all hear in the public, there's a thing called a beneficial owner. So they'll say, "Oh, well, Trust Christian, they didn't make me. I don't know who's the grantor, but I'm the beneficiary, and my children are going to be the beneficiary." That means you own it. Because who's the trust set up for in the first place? The true rightful heir, the owner, the beneficiary. So if you're the owner, you're the beneficiary, you're liable. But people don't really know that. So they say, "Oh, I want to get in a trust Christian in the vault. I want to have a trust. I need it. I need my own trust. I get my own trust, I'll be fine." So you get your own trust. Is it a state created trust or is it a private trust? Is it a private contract with your family or is it a public trust with the state, just like everything else in people's lives? Is it public or is it private? That tells you who owns it. But what state was it created in? This is this whole confusion. Oh, Trust Christian, I don't know about the common law entities. Somehow, what country was the trust created in? Hold on, let's talk about that again. What country? Oh, it was created in nowhere's land. Right. Those usually don't last. So is it public or is it private? Is it a state created? Is it country created? "Oh man, Trust Christian the Vault, I tried to get some stuff together and I tried to figure out this trust stuff, but I just can't seem to get it." Yeah, because you got to enroll in trustee training. That's why. You got to enroll in a training program that share, like, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. You're trying to learn or attempting to learn 1% information. Oh man, Trust Christian, it's so much information on the internet. I don't know to do this. I don't know to do that. It's so much information on the internet, Trust Christian in the vault. We know it's so much information on the internet because it's to confuse you. You can't be mad that there are wealthy people that at one point we just like, we're going to throw a smoke bomb for you. Why? Because you coming behind us. And what if you don't have proper intentions? See, people don't think about that when they don't have it. But when you have it, you think about protection. Because that's what trusts are. They're asset protection. So why wouldn't we throw a smoke bomb for you? Oh no, that's wrong. Don't you believe in the power of the universe and all this other stuff? Look, ladies and gentlemen, everything's different. The countries are different. The governments are different. The trusts are different. And if you choose to go into a trust or a system that doesn't work out for your situation as the most advantageous at that time, then that's your choice. But we are in a system that you have to select and learn pieces of information, inaccurate information. You have to test the information. Oh man, I just want to get into a trust. I heard about those things on the internet. Oh yeah, I heard about those things, but how come I hear about the LLCs and the C corps more, and they're on the public side? But I don't really hear about trust, and I don't even really hear about private trust. I only hear about the public trust. Exactly. You hear about the public trust. You don't hear about the private trust. Y'all hear about, oh, there's such thing as a private corporation, Trust Christian, but I don't know how to create it. I don't know how to create my corporation private. Show me how to do it, because I don't know. Okay, well, when we talk about the documents that the company is formed under, you know how many trustees, how many people we come across that don't have the founding documents for their public companies alone? That's just being honest. Because you got to become a manager, not an owner. What benefit is it to own something? All it is the liability. Oh, I own a business. What that mean? You rich? We got people out here talking in that era now. Oh man, I'm a business owner, man. What's that mean? You a millionaire? You a billionaire because you're an owner? It doesn't matter that you're the owner. What matters is control, efficiency, effectiveness, and performance. Value to your customer. How much you're servicing your customer. How you going to do that if you acting arrogant as an owner? You got to be a trustee. You got to be a manager. You got to manage the situation. You got to manage expectations. How many trustees come to trustee training with unrealistic expectations? How many people come to so many things with unrealistic expectations? You have to manage expectations as a true trustee, as a true manager. We manage expectations. You don't control them. You don't own them. You manage them. Oh man, I wanted to own a trust though. I thought that's what they do, but I don't really know how it's done. Right. And then when you get over into the sector and you find out, okay, I actually have to, get a business address. I have to get I have to have, actually have to do business in a business man. I got to have business meetings every week. I have to have business meetings every month. I got to actually bring on an accountant. We had one trustees in Australia. Trustees like, oh yeah, I'm just going to get the local Molly Jolly and Uncle Larry and Sarah, down the street to actually help us out with our taxes. For the young guy done closed over $200,000, over $300,000 actually, of contracts, accounts receivable for some service for a service that they're providing. And you want to sit here and talk about using Jomo, Molly, Smo, instead of actually going out and saying, you know what, I will figure this out, just like I figured out how to get into this financial problem of having tons of money. I got to figure out this problem to see who's going to help me protect it. And it's not going to be cheap. Instead of going a cheapskate route, then you got somebody that they're not going to educate you. That's what you get in trustee training. You don't get a trust, because if you wanted a trust, you should just go to a lawyer. Ain't that what they're going to do? How come all y'all don't go to lawyers to get a trust set up? Because you don't need a lawyer to set up a trust. That's why. But I don't know everything that goes into the contract, though. So that's why, then you got the ones that they think they're educated. I'm going to go to the public lawyer because I know he's going to do me right. He's going to do me a solid. Right. And then they put you in the public trust. And that's why we're having this conversation today. Because if somebody asked you who owns the trust, what are you going to say? Since you got the lawyer to set it up for you, I got my lawyer, I got my guy, he set me up. Yeah, okay, so who's the grantor? How come you didn't get educated about the entity? Who's the beneficiary? So what happens if something happens to you? Who's the successor trustee? Oh no, Trust Christian. They didn't talk to me about that. They didn't talk to me about being a successor trustee. They didn't talk to me about, successor trusteeship. I think they're going to weasel in as soon as I pass away, and the lawyer's going to be the trustee. And then they're going to manage the family estate for my family, and then they're going to take 7 to 15% from my family estate, literally, as a worker fee. Oh, really? Because I don't know. I wasn't involved. Who's going to manage the wealth for my children, Trust Christian? I own it. Who's going to manage it? And it's just like, wow. You got to slow down and speed up. You got to slow down and get around people that's going to educate you about the trust. It's over 80 different types of trust. I mean, what's wrong with taking some research and due diligence, just like a lot of people did, and they just went into an LLC or a C corp. So why don't you take the time to say, hey, I'm gonna go to this lawyer and find out, do they know the difference between public and private trust? We've had lawyers that we know discourage people from getting in actual getting them in trust. So you gotta make a decision. Do you need to own it, or you gonna trust Christian, own nothing, control everything? Of course. And that's the difference. It's all about being a trustee, a manager, and not focusing on owning anything. Trying to be an owner. The way they trick you on the public side is they call you a member of the LLC, don't they? See, we could talk the talk because we know what we're talking about. So on the public side, when you're in the LLC, don't they call you a member? How come the original people that found the actual LLC aren't called the owners? Y'all want to talk? Let's talk. So hold on, the lawyers that's giving you all this information, how come they didn't tell you that member means owner? But you didn't know beneficiary means owner either, right? Right. It means owner. Member means owner? You didn't read that? You didn't check with the feds? You didn't check? You didn't check with the state what a member means? Member means owner. So who owns the trust? Not the trustee. But if you're in a living trust and it's not revocable, why wouldn't it be that? Why wouldn't it be that? Oh no, Trust Christian, man, I don't know enough information yet. Exactly. That's all it is. But we just telling y'all straight up that once again, ownership incurs liability. Think about it. That's why you're getting in trust. You're getting in trust so you cannot have a liability. That's why you're in trust. So you cannot have a liability. To protect your assets. It's a no-brainer. But is it private or is it public? That's a question you got to ask yourself. And that comes from who owns it. Is it the state? Go read your documents. Some people read the documents. Oh, I don't know. The lawyer set me up. This goofball family member set me up. Some guy set me up. But is it public or private? Do you own it or not? And the ones that say, oh, I own a trust or I have a trust, you already know what type of trust they got. They telling you they got a public trust. People in trust don't tell people we got trust. Why would you tell someone that? That's public then. It's not private. Why? Because if you don't own it, you wouldn't tell anybody you have it. You hear the difference? Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.